Breaking news in the custody battle for Justina Pelletier. The Massachusetts Department of Children and Families confirming they are working to get the 15-year-old girl back to her home state of Connecticut. Now, this news comes more than a year after she was taken away from her parents following a dispute with Boston's Children's Hospital over her medical care. While the DCF news appears to be a victory for the parents, they are still experiencing some setbacks. When they tried to see Justina for their weekly visit Friday afternoons, they were initially denied.
How are they going to explain to her when she waits all week to meet with her parents? She's all excited to meet with them, and then they call it off. We clearly believe this is punitive. The DCF does not have Justina's best interest in their hearts.
Joining me now, Matt Staver, Dean of Liberty University Law School and founder of Liberty Counsel, and his team is helping the Pelletier family fight to get their daughter back. Matt, good to see you tonight. What happened today?
Thank you. Well, what happened today is they went to visit Justina for their 1-hour supervised visitation, and instead of being able to see her, DCF put them off. And then finally they said the visitation is canceled. When asked why it was canceled, they said there was a media truck out in the parking lot. Well, that had nothing to do with the Pelletiers. They were punitive against her. They were trying to punish Justina and the parents. We protested vehemently, said this was simply unacceptable, and finally after a couple of hours they relented and said, okay, we'll allow them to have this 1 hour of supervised visitation. That's all they get a week. Last Friday, when they went to 1-hour visitation, they had 5 DCF workers in the room, along with a Massachusetts state trooper. This is absolutely unbelievable. For the past 13 months, the 92-year-old grandparents of Justina have not been able to see this granddaughter. Many of the sisters, the 3 older ones, have not been able to see her since May. And the parents can only see her for 1 hour a week. They've not allowed any clergy, no communion, no Easter, no Christmas, and they've not allowed any education to this young girl at all. She has lost 2 years of her high school education because of the abuse that she is suffering at the hands of DCF.
Okay. It's my understanding this is the first time we're hearing DCF publicly address this case. In the statement we got today, I want to read. It says, our primary goal has always been the health and well-being of Justina. We want the parents to be able to work with the providers and courts to ultimately move Justina back to her home state of Connecticut. That is the objective and is consistent with our previous efforts to find an appropriate placement near her home. A medical team has been identified at Tufts, the family's provider of choice with the clinical expertise to care for Justina. And, of course, it was Tufts and the doctors there who initially diagnosed her with a mitochondrial disease, which there was dispute about with the physicians and medical personnel at Boston Children's. I mean, this sounds like it's going to be a positive move forward. What's your take on what you heard from DCF today?
Well, that's what they said. They said they're also going to drop the contempt charge regarding the gag order. They're not going to resist our motion to dissolve the gag order. Basically, we came in 1 week from last week to this situation, and now they decided to begin to back off. But we're not going to be satisfied until DCF is out of the picture. If we go back 13 months, we have an ice skating person who's engaged in competitions. She has the flu. She develops gastrointestinal problems. Her treating physician at Tufts says to go to Boston Children because her gastroenterologist has now gone there. She goes there for a routine emergency visit to see him, and a new doctor brings in a psychologist. They change the diagnosis. They don't consult with the physicians. They say it must not be physical, it's mental. And when the parents are required to sign a new form, removing all medical treatment, no medications, no vitamins, and no second opinions, they say, sorry, we'll take her back to Tufts, to her experts who've been treating her, and that's when DCF was called in. These parents take their daughter, who's an ice skating competitor, in for an emergency visit to see a particular physician of their choosing. They don't get a chance to see that physician. Now she's in a wheelchair. 13 months later, after we've come in only 1 week, they say, we will allow her to go back to Tufts. That's what she wanted to do 13 months ago. This is just simply unacceptable. DCF has no business in this case. They have no interest in the well-being of Justina, the family, or the daughters, or the sisters. They have put this family through emotional turmoil that no family ought to experience.
And Matt, there are a lot of folks who think that Dad being brave and going forward and breaking the gag order and going national to many outlets and right here on the Megyn Kelly file makes a world of difference in your legal work as well. So please keep us updated.
Thank you. Well, in fact, it is that ultimately resulted in us finding out about the case. DCF wanted to hide this and bury it in the backyard so no one could find out what they're doing in secret. And when it came out, when the dad just couldn't handle it anymore, he came out on national television and on Megyn Kelly, then ultimately the media and the world began to start to look at this and said, this is ridiculous. This is outrageous. This cannot happen. And based on that pressure, DCF has started to move. We're glad for that, but we're not going to rest until she's back with her family and she gets the kind of medical care she sought 13 months ago.
All right. Matt Staver, Liberty Counsel. Thank you, sir.